What is going on, everyone? I'm back on the mic today from Spectral Sound, and welcome to today's video. And in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how I remade a Screech bass from the Lumberjack remix of the song Suh Dude by Getter. So let's give just a piece of this drop a listen. And the sound we're going to be learning today is that super high screech that's right here. Alright, now I'm going to play you my little remake of that sound. I also threw in a kick drum just to fill space, so here we go. Alright, and there we have it. Let me actually probably turn this up a bit. Or, nah, it's up, okay. Alright, so let me just show you the pattern here. It's just a D, and all the pitch bend and everything is just in the Serum patch. Now before I get into this, let me just show you the post-processing. I just have a soft clipper, and all this is doing is adding like a little bit of distortion, but really not much. It's just making the sound louder. It's really all of that's doing mostly. And then I have just an EQ to, you know, mix it to the original track right here. And without that, it's exactly the same sound. It's just, it just doesn't have, you know, as much screechy quality as the original. Okay. So let's get right into this. Let me turn off everything here. And there's just a sub, oscillator A and oscillator B. There is no noise in this one. And we just got to remember the post-processing ends with the reverb. Or not the post-processing, the effects. Okay. Now before I start, let me just say envelope 1. All I'm doing is just turn up the attack a bit and just make this kind of shape just to reduce clicking at the very beginning. And then just raise the release just a little bit to get rid of the clickage at the end. So that's just kind of cleaning up the sound of it, just adding a little bit of time variables in there, just it makes sure everything is smoothed out. Okay, now this is a Monster 7, it's down 2 octaves, it sounds pretty crap so far. But we haven't FM'd it yet, that's where the screechiness is going to come in. Alright, so down 2 octaves for this one, the wavetable position is at 58, and the FM we have at 44, and that's a really key number right there, 44. Because that really gets that pure screechiness that we hear in this sound. Alright, now let's turn on oscillator B. This is going to be a saw wave with the level all the way down. Also, this is really important, you have to turn flip on there. Because let me play right here. Okay, and now let's take off the flip. Ah, I see it flips back. Well, that's weird. It completely changed pitch, and it completely changed, like, the timbre is gone that we had before. So you have to put the flip at 50%, otherwise it doesn't sound the same. It's off key and things are weird. Alright, this is up 3 octaves. Now, the way we get the screechy sound is by FMing one thing by another thing. But the thing you're FMing from is, it has to be up really high. It's usually like 4 octaves maybe. This one is 5 octaves because it's a saw wave, and that's how it sounded good to get a super high screech. But normally what I would do if I wanted to get something screechy, I'd FM something by usually a sine wave. In this case, it turned out to be a saw wave that sounded best, but usually by a sine wave that's 4 octaves higher. And you can go, when whatever you're FMing from, the modulator here, is up a lot higher, that's where you're going to get some really high frequency screechy content. That's how you would achieve that. And that's kind of a widely known thing, but someone requested for me to show how I got the screechiness as well. So that's what I'm saying here, just high frequency FM. This one is actually up 5 octaves because this is down 2 and up 3, but I was just trying to recreate it from that. It's just up really high, which is basically what I'm saying. Alright, now this is just a normal kind of saw wave. You can ignore that basic shapes too. It's just what pops up immediately. And for this one, the level is at 75%, and I think that's all we're doing for these. Okay, let's just turn on a sub real quick. Down 2 octaves, direct out, sine wave, just normal level at 75. That's just adding a bass in there. And now, on to the filter here. What this is doing is basically cutting down weird low frequencies and boosting around this key mid-range where the fundamental is. So the mix is at 85% for this one. The cutoff of the high-pass peak filter, which this is what it is, the HP12, is at 1608 Hertz, and the resonance is at 50%. I almost said resolution again. The drive, we didn't have any drive for this one. And the frequency is at 57. This is controlling the frequency of the peak filter. So they're both really close in range here. You can see they're just right next to each other, boosting those frequencies. So this is what we got now. So it just kind of cleans it up and gets rid of that weird low end. Okay, now let's throw on a compressor. We have a multiband compressor. The threshold is -10.9 and all of these are normal. You can see I've just boosted the mid-range a lot and the highs. I brought down the lows to nothing really. It's at 0%. This is at 170. This is at 54. So I just did that a little swoop there. And the mix is all the way up for this one. It just makes the sound even more screechy along with that. Now, believe it or not, this is actually a very wide sound. I turned the mix for this. Let me see what I got. Yeah. I turned the mix at 0, and this LFO right here is modulating it up 100%. You can see it's only at 50% here, so the mix starts at 50% and then slides down as the pitch bend goes down. And let me bring you into this real quick. The LFO1 is controlling the master tune. If you go into global and hit master tune, that's what comes up. We want to raise this up 14, so, and make it bipolar. So when it's bipolar, that means 0 is in the middle. Anything above that will make the pitch go higher. Anything below that will make the pitch drop down. So I just have it in the center here, and then it slowly kind of does that dip down, acting almost like a time stop. But so it's just dipping down a little bit right there, and it starts at 14. So that means it's going down 14 when this dip comes in. Alright, and that's just what the pitch is. I didn't want to do anything with this pitch bend or automations. I just decided to do it inside Serum. Okay, so I'm controlling it with that. The size for this one is at 1%, and the mix is all the way up. That's you would get all the wide sounds in there. And this is what it sounds like now. It's super wide right there. Now for some distortion. Did I have distortion? Yeah, I had distortion. Okay. Now for distortion, I have a tube distortion. I've just turned it up a little bit at 64% so we don't get the full frequency like that. You see this is normal, and then I just bumped it up so we get a little bulge going on. I'm pointing at the screen again like you can see me. So we just get those little bulges right there. Alright, what did I say, 64? Yeah, it's fine. Alright, the mix is all the way up for this one, and we don't have to do anything for the filter. It's just a classic little tube there. It just adds more power to the sound in general. And be that as it may, it does add some messy low end. So it's time to get rid of that with the EQ. Now I have a Shelving EQ for this bottom, and the gain is -24. That's all the way down. And this EQ is actually very harsh. It doesn't look like it goes down very far, but in reality that's actually a super harsh cut to the sound, and it acts like a high pass filter. Like all those frequencies are basically gone. You'd have to do some serious compression to get them back. So I just have the gain all the way down there. The frequency is at 675 hertz, and the Q factor is at 60%. So we're just dropping that all the way down, getting rid of all that muddiness. And obviously the sub is not being affected because we have directed out. And now for the top, I also have a Shelving EQ, except the gain is at -1.5 decibels. And what I did here is when you add something like here, you see how it's going both ways. We're making it bipolar. Normally it's just unipolar like this, only going one direction. What we can do, if we add an LFO to something, let me just add that. There we go. And now we do, what was it? Was it Control Shift click? No, that brought it down to normal. What was it? Let me see. It was some command. Control Alt Shift Alt. There we go. Okay. I always forget it. If you press Shift and Alt at the same time, you can change it to bipolar. So now I can press Shift Alt again, Shift Alt click, and now it's back to unipolar. So that's all you do for that. And I don't think this was terribly important. I'm just going to leave it at 35. So that's what I did for this one. And because this LFO is right in the middle, so right in the middle, I didn't want anything happening with the gain. I wanted it right in the center, and then it slides downward. So I'm modulating it 55%, and you can see the little blue dot when I play it. It just starts in the middle there and then slides downward. Nothing happens with this top end. Normally I don't do that, I just keep things unipolar, but I decided to use bipolar for this one because it worked out pretty well. And as it's sliding down, the frequencies are all sliding around, making it kind of messy. So I just duck down those high screeching frequencies as it slides down. Now for a chorus, this sound doesn't sound like it has a chorus on it, yet it does. It actually has a very strong chorus. The rate is at 0.01, delay 1 is at 0.0, and delay 2 is at 0.3, so just super tight chorus right there. The depth is at 20 milliseconds, and the feedback is very low at 10%. Turn the low pass filter all the way up so we get all the screechy frequencies in there. And the chorus wet is at 65%, so we're getting a lot of the chorus in there because this is a very wide sound, like I said. And normally if I put this on something, it'd make it super messy, but seeing as there's actually very few frequencies in here, it isn't a very full spectrum. You can see we just have those peaks up here, and that's all we got. So what this is doing is filling it out. Alright, now lastly for the reverb, I have a metallic reverb here. It's if you turn it on plate, then turn the width all the way up, you get a really thick metal sounding reverb. And that's what I really wanted for this sound. So the mix is at 36% for this one. We're just mixing in a bit of the reverb. You want to turn the width all the way up, otherwise it's going to be completely mono. You can hear it, the reverb is right in the center. We wanted it to be nice and wide. So the damp is at 28%, and cutting the high frequencies with 30%, and the low frequencies at 13%. We didn't want any pre-delay on there. I think the pre-delay sounds kind of messy. I usually don't use any pre-delay on my reverb, except in very special cases. This one, I didn't want it. So the size is also at 15%, so it's a very low kind of size reverb. It isn't decaying for a long time. It's just a nice thick sounding right at the beginning. Alright, am I modulating anything with that? No, I'm not. Okay, beautiful. I believe that is it. Yeah, I have a really small matrix right here. This really is not a complicated sound to make, especially just getting screechy sounds in general. Like I said, FMing something that's like 4 octaves higher with a 4 octave higher sine wave, it just creates a lot of screechy frequencies. And in fact, I can actually probably show you. Let me just open a new serum so I can give an example of something screechy. See, this is what we got. Basic stuff. Let's just pick a random monster. Sure, this looks to be good. At the end here, this looks nice. Okay. That's all we got. Let's turn it down a couple octaves. Awesome. Alright, now let's go select a sine wave. Let me just go into basic shapes. Now let's turn it up 2. You see, this is down 2, this is up 2. It's up 4 octaves higher. Let's turn the level all the way down. Now let's start some FM. I might have to pick a new wavetable. Let's just see how it goes. You can definitely hear it just got a huge metallic quality. Let me find, where's that monster? There's one I like that's really good for FM. Ah, here we go. There we go. There's a lot of screech in there, and you can change how high the screech is by changing the octave of this sine wave. You can listen. That sounds a lot like the sound in here. It has that really high frequency screech. So we can adjust it. I normally go 3 octaves lower to get like a detuned, deep rhythm kind of sound. But if you're going for screech, go like 4 octaves. Alright. So there we are. I just taught you how to make screechy basses and how to recreate the sound from the Slumberjack, or not Slumberjack, Lumberjack remix. I always say Slumberjack. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, comment below what you thought. Also, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already for more videos weekly. I probably will not be doing videos this weekend, seeing as it's Christmas weekend. Hopefully you'll see me Monday. I'll try to get a video in then. So, Merry Christmas and peace out.